For a show that can be read as allegorical for the controversial rise of AI in society, it seems that at some times the Apple TV show Pluribus is saying that AI isn't so bad. But is the show even about AI? I'll tell you later, so keep watching. The singular mind that humanity turns into in the show parallels many aspects of modernity. This hive mind that I will call the others could represent social media, religion, political revolution, AI, automation, or many other things. However, Pluribus is a subjective narrative, which is in line with the show's main character more than most shows you see today. A goal in filmmaking is to have the story driven entirely by the protagonist and their emotional journey, and this is something that Pluribus lives up to excellently. We are viewing this world through the eyes of Carol. The show is driven by her grief and fear, which she masks as righteous anger and outrage, feeling the need to project this outrage onto the world around her. While a lot of meaning can be gleaned from the others, the show is mainly about the ways that Carol responds to them. This is where I find the meaning of the show. I see Pluribus as an exploration of how the internet and social media has shaped human interaction and one's ability to grow. It's about humans' innate need for connection and how that desire is contorted in an internet landscape where many people's default setting seems to be outrage. While anger on the internet is typically directed at an individual, group, or government, no emotion exists in a vacuum. There is always a piece of oneself or their past in what they find most upsetting. With Carol, her anger is of course directed at the others. While her backstory is not the main focus of the show, the writers are very intentional about what the audience learns about Carol. And the most important thing we find out is about her experience in a conversion camp, where she was sent by a family that did not accept her sexuality. A conversion camp where she was taught that an innate and unchangeable part of her being is wrong. Online, it's easy to put one's anger behind something like a political issue. However, at a subconscious level, there's always going to be personal pain behind that anger. For example, the anger that caused conservatives to take away rights from gay individuals stems from the anger they felt when Grindr crashed at the Republican National Convention. Anyway, how the show represents the individuality of Carol's anger is through the connection between her conversion camp experience and the others. When people are trying to change someone else in the name of religion, it is a disorienting experience. Again, the conversion camp told her that an innate part of herself is wrong. However, because their cause is based in a religion that is supposed to be about love and connection, the whole experience feels off. From the outside, the religion conveys a smiling, welcoming front that becomes uncanny to those who have been hurt in the name of said religion. And this same uncanny warmth and welcoming front is mirrored in the others. Similar to the conversion camp, the others also have an agenda and believe that Carol should change to live in line with that agenda. Basically, they believe that Carol should become one of them. Regardless of whether the others are good or bad, we can see that the basis of Carol's anger has little to do with what she is angry towards. In the same way that outrage does not exist in a vacuum, we learn through the show that it cannot survive in one either. When Carol is left alone by the others, we see that her anger can only sustain her for so long when she is no longer able to hide from the emotions that are behind said anger. Forced outside the border she built around herself, she realizes that she cannot exist alone. Behind the anger we see in the world today is a need to connect, even if the only way you can do so is through anger and hate. This paradox of projected negativity and the need for connection and approval beneath it is explored thoroughly through Carol's character. Carol's first scene in the show is her at a book signing event for her newest in a series of romance novels she has written. Her fans are adoring, and they speak so highly of her and her work and how it has positively impacted their lives. Then the scene ends with her leaving the event and immediately talking negatively towards those fans. The biggest thing she hates about her own work and about her fans for enjoying said work is the fact that she pandered and made the romance heterosexual. This projected anger conceals the grief and self-hatred that she feels. And the approval she seeks from others shows that despite her uncaring exterior, she still needs connection and approval from the world around her, returning to her hatred of the others. Because none of the remaining humans that she meets in the show feel the same hatred towards the others that she does, she feels alone. So she works tirelessly to find a single remaining human that agrees with her, seen in her endless work to connect with Manusos and vice versa. Out of all the humans that remain, Manussos seems to be the only one that shares Carol's mistrust of the world. The only hint of a backstory we have for him is the fact that he hated his mother, mirroring Carol's estrangement from her own family. Carol and Manussos don't even speak the same language, however their connection is their anger, and more importantly, the hurt that lies beneath said anger. Similar to this, so much of the connection that is made online is based in anger. Anger towards a group, political party, or individual. On the internet, it's possible to find at least one person that agrees with you on basically any opinion you might have. However, the only thing that can come from these interactions is more fear, more anger, and more negativity. What Pluribus shows us is that this negativity is almost an addiction for people like Carol and Manussos. The creators behind the show go out of their way to show you how dependent Carol is on her unhappiness. While traveling on a completely empty plane, she refuses to sit in the plane's first class section, electing to sit in the very last row of the plane, the only row where the seats do not recline. She repeatedly refuses the help that the others offer to her, whether it's the meals they cook her or their offers to help in digging Helen's grave. Manussos is the same way, electing to walk through the jungle alone rather than accept their offers to transport him to his destination. For all the work the show puts into exploring these characters' anger, it would be pointless if it did not also explore the effects that this anger has on themselves and the world around them. The others on the show are all connected in a superhuman way, however, the writing always maintains a certain level of humanity in them. While Carol is not linked to the others in the same way, she's more connected to them than she initially thinks. Her connection to them is not mental, but emotional. When she gets too upset, the others stop functioning and many die. When Carol challenges them by inflicting harm on one of the others, the rest of them have a visceral, emotional response. In the real world, humans' ties to one another are not the linking of minds that the others share. However, the disruptive emotional connection that Carol has with the others is very in line with how one person's outrage can affect the world around them. And more importantly, how this process has amplified in an age where the internet connects us all. This is something we see played out in the real world regularly. Today we sadly see ideological disputes that started on the internet turn into real world disruption and violence. Even on a smaller scale, the anger that people engage with on the internet affects the energy they put out into the rest of the world. Like many people on the internet today, Carol's outrage clouds her empathy. As the others become the enemy in her mind, Carol loses track of how her actions impact the rest of the world. Like many extremists in the real world, her convictions make her lose sight of other people's humanity. Through Carol, we see how outrage dampens one's ability to grow as a person. When people believe that their negativity is warranted, it becomes as though positivity is an affront to their beliefs. The age of social media has made it harder than ever to improve oneself. The comedian Neil Brennan once said that social media makes it feel like other people are succeeding at you, and I think there's something very true to that. The others in the show could be viewed as the embodiment of self-improvement and self-actualization. They are kind, they don't resort to anger, and they communicate effectively. The others are emotionally intelligent enough to put up boundaries and move away from Carol after she has hurt them. The others in their mission represent the choice to grow as a person. One of the most important scenes in the show happens in Las Vegas. Like we have already established, through Carol's eyes, the rise of the others has been more of an invasion than an evolution. Like many clouded by outrage on the internet, Carol has only been able to view this event through a self-interested and unempathetic lens. Convinced the others want to change her against her will, she confronts one of the remaining humans about it, a human who lives in harmony with the others. When she expresses this sentiment to him, she learns that the others can only change the humans with their consent. While other people may have a desire for one to grow as a person, that growth is impossible unless that person decides on their own that they want to do so. Okay, now I'm going to talk about AI, because I do think the comparison to AI is an interesting one. Many aspects of the others do feel allegorical for artificial intelligence in the modern world. However, I actually see the others as an antidote to AI. Yes, both the others and AI have access to most all of human knowledge and media. However, the others' focus on connection and betterment sets them apart. The most clear example of this is their view of art, because art is a serious concern today. We are living in a time when AI has unfettered access to interpret and manipulate art without ever crediting or compensating the people that are behind that art existing in the first place. It feels as though AI is trying to automate human creativity. However, in the show, the others do not create art of their own. Their concern is with function, efficiency, and survival. In possibly my favorite scene of the show, Carol asks one of the others to compare her own writing to the work of William Shakespeare, and the others say that both are of equal value. The others have access to the memories and emotions of all of the humans whose bodies they inhabit, so they are able to see Carol's writing through the eyes of her biggest fan. And this is why I see the connection that ties all of the others together as the point of the entire show. Because in the end, Pluribus is advocating for community and connection. AI will never be able to truly understand or connect with humanity, but connection with humanity is the only way that the others can understand anything. This is the reason they are able to enact true change. The reason that they have a chance at saving the human race. We see this emphasis on connection in most of the remaining humans as well. They respond to this radical change in the world by grounding themselves in community, not only with those like them, but with the others as well. And for Carol, it's only through connection that she is able to finally escape her state of anger and misery. But hey, I haven't seen the finale, so maybe that undermines my whole thesis. Who knows? Also, what if you subscribe to the channel? I know it's a crazy idea. I sound like a fucking lunatic right now, but maybe fucking just do it. Also, give me money. I haven't set up a Patreon or established any way for you to actually do that, but you know, figure it out. Also, the word pluribus does not sound like the name of a show. It sounds like a fungal infection you get from spending too much time in a lake. Anyways, happy holidays. Bye.